This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to CWK Live. I'm your host, Dan Zehr, delighted to talk Star Wars with each and every one of you. Well, we are back. Thank you for joining me on a special night. It's Sunday night. Normally, of course, we have the shows during the week, but this just worked out better this week. It's going to be a crazy week scheduling or month with summer, but it's all going to work out. We're all going to get to talk Star Wars, and I could not be happier because I get to talk about Star Wars with each of you. Let's bring in our friends. Hello, Robert. He says, hello, everyone. Dan, nice hat. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Great to see you. I'm wearing, this is a Heroes and Villains hat that I got, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Appreciate it. And remember, if you go to heroesandvillains.com, you can use the code COFFEE20 for 20% off your order. Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig. Let's look at what is going to go on the show tonight. Tonight, we got your top 5 moments from The Acolyte, episodes 1 and 2. This is a brand new Star Wars series on Disney+. It debuted last Tuesday. And, of course, there's lots of great conversation about it that people want to talk about. People want to talk about Star Wars, and that's what we're going to get to do here on CWK Live. A really nice thing about CWK Live is, of course, you get your thoughts heard right away to thousands of people, and you get to talk about Star Wars. And I love this. I love that people have a voice on Coffee with Kenobi, and I am thrilled about it. Plus, we've got some Star Wars news. Speaking of, let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. Okay. Are you ready for this, everybody? This week, we found the brand new HasLab dropped. HasLab, of course, is something that Hasbro does when there are very exciting, exclusive pieces of merchandise, large play sets, vehicles, spaceships, maybe extra large Black Series figures, whatever the case may be. And they wouldn't go into normal mass production because it's just probably not cost prohibitive to make them. But they do make a smaller amount of them. If a certain amount of people, basically, it's like a pledge kind of. You're bidding. You're not bidding. You're saying, hey, I'll pay this much money. And if a certain amount of people get it, in this case, Hasbro is looking for 8,000 backers for the Cantina, then it'll go into production. And this is it. This is the vintage collection, which of course is for the 3 3/4 inch figures. And it is the Cantina, the iconic Cantina from Mos Eisley on Tatooine, or Tatooine. I don't know why I said Tatooine. I don't know if I've ever said Tatooine before, but you know, potato, Solo, Han, you know. So this is what it looks like. There are a lot of options for the Cantina. Hello, David. He says, hello, Dan and CWK family. David, great to see you. David's profile picture, he's sitting in a Cantina, sort of. He's sitting in the Sublight Lounge from the Halcyon. Now, but this is the Cantina. This is the normal Cantina. There's a deluxe edition, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But there's what it is. You've got the entrance with a couple of chairs. You've got 1, 2, 3 booths. And what's nice about those booths is that you can take them apart and move them around and kind of configure the Cantina the way you want. And of course, you got the iconic bar with the drinks. You've got the little cups everywhere. You've got furniture, stools. It's spectacular. Here is a side view of it. Again, you can see when you've got it pushed all together how it's going to look when you have it displayed. And what's really nice about this is that not only can you rearrange it, but you can also space it out and spread it out. So depending on how much room you have, you can make it really nice and tight and snug like it is there, or you can spread it out a little bit more. The reason I know this is because on the HasLab website, you can see a video of the entire thing. It's great, and I'm going to post it on coffeewithkenobi.com very soon. Here's a closer view. You can see the tables that come with this and the little individual cups, the drinking cups that they have, the seats, the booths, and then the side view of the bar itself. Now, I got this picture. Again, thanks to Hasbro for sending me these pictures. But this is a close-up of the bar. They've got the lighting set up really, really nicely. But that looks like a good place for Han Solo to face off against a Rodian, I would say. But that's the kind of detail that you get from these. They're amazing. They're absolutely stunning. With all HasLabs, you get the option of action figures. Not the option, but you get action figures with them. So it incentivizes it. David says the Cantina looks incredible, doesn't it? It looks incredible. I believe the Cantina goes for $399.99. It's expensive, but you're getting a lot. This thing is huge. So there is the actual bartender of the Mos Eisley Cantina. You get a 3 3/4 inch figure of him carded. And we've got the Tonica sisters. You've got both sisters here. People are very excited about them. They've never been available as figures before. Robert says, only if I had the space and funds. Well, that is a pretty reasonable thing to consider, Robert. I completely understand. That's kind of my dilemma too. Where would I put it? And if I was going to save money for that, what would I not be using the money for? Do you know what I mean? Like, or if you just budget for it, you've got until June. Sorry, you've got until, I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, you've got until July 8th to decide. So you've got just over a month. So this is a deluxe version. I mentioned before the deluxe, the regular version is $399 for I think it's $499.99, an extra $100. You get 1, 2, 3 extra booths. You get a whole bunch of extra furniture, more cups, larger booths, and then smaller chairs themselves. There's a ton more accessories. I mean, if you are someone that is like a troop builder, or you set up dioramas or something like that, this is amazing. Like, we've been talking about getting something like this for over 40 years. I mean, there was a Cantina that was made for, the original one back in 1978, but it was very, very small. It was orange. I love it. I don't have mine anymore. I wish I did, but this is obviously a step up. So I think I have a picture of what it looks like when you have the entire thing. So this is what the entire thing looks like when you've got all of it together. Normally it would just be everything you see there, but only one side of the booths. But if you add the extra $100, you know what's on the right too. So you get the entire thing, the entire one together. Very, very sharp. Very, very exciting. So there you go. There's the HasLab Cantina. All right, let's talk about Heroes and Villains. I mentioned earlier, this is a Heroes and Villains hat. A few weeks ago, I showed you the Heroes and Villains Star Wars slides that you can get. In fact, Mason and I were just playing wiffle ball in the front yard, and I was wearing my Ahsoka slides, and he was wearing his Rebel logo slides. And they're pretty comfortable. They are insanely comfortable. But this is not slides. This is an Ahsoka Tano t-shirt. Not the right there that is on the image. Actually, this shirt is from Heroes and Villains too. Now that I mention it. Yeah, the Clone Trooper. But the one that's displayed here is, my gosh, I'm all over the place. I apologize. It's like the moisture wicking shirt. It's a performance shirt. And they've got a ton of them. They've got a lot of Star Wars options. I put the silk one here because I think the blue is striking, but you can get, there's a Spider-Man option, there's Batman, there's a lot of really nice ones. But it's got that, it's like part spandex, part cotton, and then another material too. But really, really sharp. But again, use the code COFFEE for 20% off your order, which is great. And then here are some shorts. They've got a ton of brand new athletic shorts. I'm a big fan of when you can take things. It's almost like, it looks like you might find these at Dick's Sporting Goods. You won't. But it looks kind of like the material of the items that you would find in an athletic store. But you've got you can put your fun Star Wars into your exercise, your basketball game, baseball, softball, whatever you're doing. Pickleball. In fact, pickleball is fun. So there's some options for you. Use the code COFFEE for 20% off your order. Okay, now let's go into our top 5, shall we? Tonight's top 5, we finally get to talk about the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte. The 2 episodes are Lost Found That was episode 1, and episode 2 is Revenge / Justice. Let's dive into this. This is, I really enjoyed the conversation about this. I mean, of course, as with all new things Star Wars, we get trepidatious because we get very excited. Star Wars is very personal to us. We love Star Wars, obviously, and we really want it to be everything we love about this franchise, and I get that. So let's see what we thought. Let's see what our top 5s are from these first 2 episodes. We combined them together for this. The Jedi Vector appearance. The Jedi Vector is my number 5. The Jedi Vector is an iconic starship from the world of the High Republic, as you know, or maybe you don't. But the Acolyte takes place during the era of the High Republic. This is well before the Empire. The books actually take place 200 years before the Phantom Menace, but the Acolyte takes place 100 years before the events of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which is why the characters are different. The galaxy looks a little bit different. But that's why it's cool to see a brand new ship, the Jedi Vector. Now, this is not new to fans of the High Republic series, but it is new to live-action Star Wars. So seeing it was pretty spectacular. Robert's number 5 is May attacking Torben and encountering an invisible wall. And that was a pretty significant sequence from the 2nd episode of The Acolyte. So good start, Robert. Nick's number 5. Hello, Nick. Good to see you. He says May's dust storm, which uses the Force to kinetically take the dust and blow it around and cause quite a distraction. It was pretty cool stuff. We hadn't really seen that before. Number 5 for David, the fight sequence between Master Indara and May to start the series. As a spectacular sequence. If you're just joining us, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, you're certainly able to comment and add your thoughts. If you're on X, I don't think it will let you. Although one of my students, Jackson, God bless you, Jackson, he did it a few weeks ago, but no one else could seem to figure out how to do it. I don't know. But if you've got a top 5, you can certainly add it here, or you can add it later in the CWK Cafe, because I always post a copy of the live video, or you can post it later on YouTube. Jen is here. Hello, Jen Subchakchai. Great to have you on the show, and great job on Rebel Base Card as always. Jen's number 5 is any scene with Pip. The Walkman Swiss Army knife is a clever design for a droid. Walkman Swiss Army knife. That is a good descriptor, Jen. Absolutely love it. All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4, Kelnaka's power. So we only get to see it at the end of the 2nd episode, but some people look like they're about to go into where his place of residence is, and he uses the Force and pulls the blaster away from them, and he breaks it, and he growls at them in this great Wookiee growl, and they tear off. So the power is not only his stature. You know, the might of a Wookiee, of course, is inarguable. But also, you throw in the Force, and now you've got a Wookiee with the Force. Come on. That's amazing. So that was a really cool, it's a quick thing at the end of the episode, but a nice little sort of a cliffhanger or a tease for us. Number 4 for Robert, the droids turning into chairs. Oh, Robert, that's great. I should have put that. I could have easily put that on there. That was so cool. It kind of screamed Lego to me a little bit, you know, and not in a bad way. It was cool, but I love that. I love those droid chair thingies. I don't think droid chair thingy is the official name for those lovely little creatures, but that was pretty fun. Number 4 for Nick, when Pip closes himself shut when he senses danger. So much personality in a droid, you know, and it wouldn't be a new Star Wars series without a new droid, right? That people are excited about, and Pip is already filling that void. It's really not a void because Star Wars always delivers with really fun droids, I think. All right, and I've got my favorite little guy right here, the retro chopper that looks at me all the time when I do a podcast. David's number 4. While few, and you mentioned Jedi Vector already, I like the High Republic aspects, including the different Jedi robes, Vernestra, and really beautiful lightsabers. All right, that's cool. I talk about that a lot on Coffee with Kenobi this week, and in my review on coffeewithkenobi.com. Be sure to check it out if you haven't done so already. But David says that he loves the High Republic aspects, and I think as always, the clothing is just beautiful. It really looks spectacular. So it was nice to see that aspect represented as well. All right. Anybody else have a number 4? If not, there are quite a few of you watching, but not contributing, which is, again, totally fine. I'm happy to have you just be a part of this because know that we love having you. So thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. Jen's number 4. The 2 parallel moments of Soul force suspending Osha and May. They both are falling backwards, and it seems like an intentional echo. I agree with that. It's there's a lot of cool symbolism that isn't specifically addressed, but it's quite prevalent in these episodes. And there's more to come. I think I said this, but I've seen episodes 3 and 4 already. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to talk about. Number 3, Michael Abel's music. It's very string heavy. But that's not a bad thing. It's actually, I think it adds quite nicely. The ambiance, the atmosphere, Star Wars is always so known for its music, right? And Michael Abel's music here really adds, it kind of throws you off a little bit and it adds a little bit of the creepy factor, but there's some creepy things happening. There's a mysterious master that is very strong on the dark side of the Force, at least, well, we assume that. I mean, we've only seen a lightsaber turn on for like 2 seconds at the end of the first episode, but something must be happening for the master, whoever it is, to get Osha to try to hunt down these Jedi and to get her motivated to do it and train her. So it adds a really uncomfortable, weird, creepy vibe, which is exactly what the story needs, because that's sort of the tone of this piece so far. It's unusual. Why are these Jedi being killed? We know who's doing it, but why are they doing it? It's pretty fun. It's pretty, well, fun. I don't know what's fun for the Jedi, but you know what I mean? It's fun to have suspense in Star Wars like this. So, and the music adds so much to that. Number 3 for Robert, the mystery thriller film noir vibe. Yeah, kind of similar to what I said about the music, but right on. I completely agree, Robert. Nick says, this scene broke my heart when May sees a bartender's kid holding onto him and May steps away, which is so important, right? Because if you don't have that, then Osha is just, or no, then May is just like, then you don't care about her. But you do in this, because you see that she cares about this child, or at least enough not to kill it, which kill him or her. I'm not sure if it's a boy, a male or a female, but that it adds a little bit of like, okay, maybe she's not purely evil, and then it makes it complicated, which is good. David's the interplay between Jackie and George. She likes giving him grief, and I'm glad she does. What a great way to put that, David. I love that. Yeah, she seems nonplussed by his Yordness. Yord has been quite a popular character on the interwebs, which has been fun to see. It's fun to see everybody having a good time. So anybody else have a number 3, Jen? Jen is writing her novella on her comments. And, oh, okay, there it is. Hi, Jen. She says, Jackie showing up, Yor with a better plan, same as David. Yes, thank you. And, of course, I kid Jen because she's my good friend. And she's always, when she's on the show, she does the academic corner, which we love. So that's what I was talking about earlier. All right, let's go to number 2. Number 2 is, for me, Soul versus Osha. I put Osha, but I obviously meant May. So, oops. Well, they are twins, to be fair, and it is the same actor. So, I throw one in at least once a show, make a mistake. It's, it's part of the fun. There must be kryptonite in the studio. I don't know what the case is. But yeah, Soul versus May was spectacular because it's just a great fight scene. And we're seeing this. We saw it in Kenobi. We saw it a little bit in some other things. A little bit in Tales of the Empire. But when one person fighting the other is significantly more powerful, they don't even need to turn on their lightsaber. And they can just duck and dodge and parry and move out of the way. And it's just cool. But it was just a really cool one. There's appropriate dialogue in the fight to add to kind of the suspense of the piece. But I loved it. I think Soul versus May, again, sorry I put Osha, I meant to put May, is really, really fun. Number 2 for Robert is the hair, May / Osha and Yord and Sol. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of style with the different hair in it, isn't there? Yeah, May does have cool hair. Really fun. So yes, number 2 for Robert is the hair. Right on. Anybody else have a number 2? I feel so frustrated that I didn't put May. Oh well. It's not a well. Things that just drive me crazy as an English teacher. Okay. Number 2 for Nick. You ought to put your clothes on. It was funny and had a 1990s TGIF humor to it. Now that's true. That's a good connection. David's 2. Master Soul. I really love the Qui-Gon Jinn vibes he's showing. He truly strikes me as a Jedi Master. I agree. Master Soul is by far my favorite character. A lot of people like Yord or Jackie, and they're fun. They're fine. Actually, I don't really love Yord. I find him to be quite. His personality is kind of but that's okay. It is. We've only seen a couple episodes, but Soul is awesome. I love Soul. Number 2 for Jen, Kymir switching back and forth between sinister and buffoonish. It feels like there's more to his character than meets the eye. It does, doesn't it? And then it doesn't. And I think that's the actor whose name is escaping me now, who's playing Kymir, is really great. And he's somewhat charismatic, I would say too. Don't want to say too much more. But yeah, I agree with you. All right, it's time for number 1. Number 1 moment for me for the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte from season 1. The opening fight. Manny Jacinto. Thank you so much, Jen. The opening fight is spectacular. The first, what is it? Is it 6-7 minutes? It's probably not 6-7 minutes. But however long the opening sequence is, it's great. And we lose Master and Dara pretty quickly, which is a bummer. But it adds to what they're trying to do with... if you're going to care about brand new characters, and that's pretty important, you have to be hooked, right? You have to care about this Jedi that you've never met before. So what better way to do that than they cast Carrie-Anne Moss, right? So she fights May. A lot of homages to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and other great martial arts works, and it's great. Some of the coolest choreography and fight sequences for Star Wars that we've ever seen. It really delivers, really sets the tone. And then at the end, when Endara finally turns on her lightsaber and starts deflecting the daggers, there's just so like a massive amount of gravitas to the ignition of that saber. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Number 1 for Robert, the choreography of the fight scenes, Endara, May, and Sol. Now they say so much about the individual characters. It's true. I agree with that. It's really spectacular. Number 1 for David, the real mystery in the series, which is the audience learning what really happened between 4 Jedi Masters, Osha, May, and their family. Yeah, how about that? I'm glad because they sold it as a mystery, and they said it was a. And at first I watched them like, well, it's not a mystery. We know right away who the murderer is. It's right there. But that's not the mystery. The mystery is what's going on and who the master is. And why are they against the Jedi? Why is May against the Jedi? And why is May's master against the Jedi? I guess we'll find out, won't we? I guess we will. All right. Anybody else want to weigh in? Again, remember, whether you're listening to the show live or watching it on Facebook or YouTube or on X, or whether you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, you can always add in your comments and your top 5 on the CWK Cafe or anywhere on Coffee with Kenobi. Jen's first one is the smile that flashed across Master Soul's face when he speaks with Osha. I love how emotionally dynamic his character is. He reminds me of Qui-Gon Jinn in the best way. I agree. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I like him so much, besides the cloud with which the actor portrays Master Soul. But there is a wonderful sort of nod to the performance in which he has said, I love Qui-Gon Jinn, I love Liam Neeson, and it so comes to life, doesn't it? It's really great. All right, well, thank you so much, everybody. Nice to have all of your comments here, whether it's live or later after the show goes live. The next CWK is, of course, going to be about The Acolyte. And it's going to be episodes 3 and 4 because, actually, hold on. Nick says, I agree with David. The core mystery is a great setup. You can tell it won't be a straightforward answer. It'll be a complicated answer with many sides to it. Well, Nick, it'll be fun to see when we find out what we all think about it. So again, next CWK Live is episodes 3 and 4. Normally we do episode 3 and then episode 4 because they are dropping weekly. But next week, I believe I mentioned it, but I'll mention again, I'm on vacation, so there will be no CWK Live the week of June 17th. There will be 2 Coffee with Kenobi episodes. I certainly wouldn't leave you hanging there. So there's going to be 2 Coffee with Kenobi episodes next week. There just will not be a live show next week. And then back to business, June 24th, we'll talk about The Acolyte episodes 3 and 4. So there you have it. There you have it. Let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, so while you're getting your questions ready, I want to point out that if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, on Coffee with Kenobi last week, we did episodes 1 and 2, a full breakdown, myself and James Burns, the founder and the guru of Jedi News, an amazing website for Star Wars news and information. James and I talked about the first couple of episodes in a lot of detail, so be sure to check that out. If you're not already subscribing to Coffee with Kenobi on Apple Podcasts or YouTube, please go ahead and do so you won't miss an episode. Pour-Over this week, we finally finished the series X-Men 97 with the finale. We were very mixed on the episode. Some people loved it. One person was a little disappointed. Who did? You'll have to find out. It's great. I love CWK Pour-Over because I get to talk with Tom and Corey, Tom Gross and Corey Club every week. And it's a great way to support Coffee with Kenobi. The reason you, when you do support Coffee with Kenobi, you contribute monthly and you get access to Coffee with Kenobi's podcast, exclusive CWK Alliance podcast, CWK Pour-Over, and there's also a video option as well. Plus 10% of your monthly contributions go directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. David wants to know, am I excited for Temptation of the Force, the High Republic adult novel? David, I've read it. I'm very excited about it. I'm allowed to talk about it, actually. I think it's spectacular. I would say it's one of my favorite novels in the High Republic series. I can't wait for people to read it. It's really great. I've actually got an interview with Tessa coming out really, really soon to talk all about the book. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's great. It is great. The High Republic novels have always been really, really awesome. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. You know, if you ever have a question, you can ask me here on Coffee with Kenobi on the live show. You can certainly email me whenever you have a question about, you know, something Star Wars specific. Well, I guess that helps since it's the Star Wars podcast. But like if you have a question about a certain moment from one of the shows or books or films, whatever, I'm happy to answer what I can. Jen's has fallen behind with High Republic books, but I'm eager to catch up this summer. Yeah, Jen, there's so much fun, you know, and it's easy to kind of get overwhelmed. I stick to the main adult novels, and then I go back as time allows and fill in with the young adult ones and the others because there's so much good stuff. Have a good break, David. David said, have a great break. Dan, thank you, David. Appreciate it, my friend. Robert says, have fun in your vacation. Thank you, Robert. Thank you all. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everyone who joined us, whether you commented or not. Just having you here to spend time out of your busy schedule to hang out with me and members of the CWK family. I love it. I appreciate it so much. I do think my problem is I try to do all the lines at once. Yeah, that's hard. It's really hard, especially when, you know, you're grading papers and doing all the things. Nick says, have fun, Dan. Thank you, Nick. Thanks so much, my friend. Really appreciate you guys. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Jen, Nick, everybody, Robert, David, all my friends. Appreciate you. Whether you're here now, live, or you're just listening to the show later, it's great. Thank you for what you do. You put a lot of positive into the Star Wars community, and I appreciate that. You know, sometimes people will say that, you know, there's so much negativity, and maybe there is, but you know, I stick to the light. I stick to the light side of the force. I don't like everything, but you don't have to like everything. You can still find a loving, positive way to talk about it. And that's what we do here on Coffee with Kenobi. So thank you so much, everyone, again, for joining us. May the stars light your way. Rising moons. I kind of am tempted to start saying things about purple horseshoes and lucky charms. That's a different thing. So thank you so much, everybody. I will see you next time. This is the live podcast you're looking for. See you in 2 weeks.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.